Hello and welcome to the Homebuyer Workshop. My name is Mike Stover. I'm an active licensed real estate broker in Washington State. I've been teaching homebuyer workshops for over 30 years. I've taught thousands of people on how to buy a house the right way. I teach the workshop because I've met so many people who want to buy a house but hesitate because they don't know where to start or who to trust. I've watched buyers make so many mistakes and get taken advantage of. Buying a house is not like going to McDonald's. When buying a house, you have many choices and many decisions to make. What you hear on the news, social media, friends, and family is not always accurate. I always say, you don't know what you don't know. So enough's enough. I'll make you a promise. Watch this workshop and you'll learn step by step on how to buy a house in this market or any market wherever you live, whether you're a first-time home buyer or a fifth-time buyer. I'm not here to sell you anything. This workshop is about education, not solicitation. When I'm finished with the workshop, you'll be able to set your expectation bar high with whomever you decide to work with. That's it. So let's get started. Helping me is Jesse Stover. He's a licensed real estate broker, and I'll be adding his insights and thoughts throughout the workshop. So Jess, let's get started. Okay, so why watch this workshop? Well, here you go. To understand the process of buying a house. You can stop renting and you can develop a plan to buy one. I call it a roadmap. You may have concerns about your credit. You're not sure if you qualify. You don't know whom to trust. Maybe you're cautious or suspicious by nature. Maybe you're afraid of the large financial commitment. And how about the current market with what you're hearing out there? Interest rates, inflation, etc. So let's go over what we're going to cover. First of all, we're going to cover the whole real estate process. We're going to talk about the lending process. We're going to talk about the 9 common mistakes that many buyers make. And we're going to talk about the 7 steps to buying a home. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to get together and you're going to put together your team. All right. Your team is going to consist of, and we're going to talk about the first two, which is your lender and your real estate agent. You're also going to get a tax preparer, and you're going to be looking into getting insurance on your home. So an insurance agent you'll be talking to. Now, why do you need a team? What do they do for you? Well, what the lender's going to do is they're going to pre-approve you. They're going to show you on your best loan options and what you can afford to buy and where you're comfortable and what price range you're comfortable at. Your real estate agent's going to educate you and guide you and negotiate for you. You can see where it says about the tax preparer. You're going to have tax advantages and deductions when buying a home. And, of course, your insurance. When you buy a home, you've created, you have an asset, and you want to make sure that that is protected against fire, theft, someone getting hurt there. But all of these people will be on your team. Now, common mistake number 1, not being pre-approved. Many of you probably go on to Redfin, Zillow, and all these different places, and you're looking at houses. And I think that's great. It's fun. But you don't know. Can you afford the house in the upper left or the house below it? You don't know. Well, we're going to talk about this right now. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to choose a lender. To find a lender, you want to find one that you feel most comfortable with, who's looking out for your best interest and someone you can trust. Interview them. Ask them why you should use them. Listen to what they say. Get at least 2 quotes. Get 2 different opinions. And find out what your loan options are, all of them. Now, what you want to find out is you want to find out your maximum price. And then you're going to find out what they call your comfort price. Flatter yourselves. Find out what you can actually afford. So, I don't know, maybe you're thinking about $500,000, but you're pre-approved for $1 million. Well, the point is find out what your maximum is. Find out what your comfort zone is. And there's many reasons for that. Many. Number 1, it will really help your real estate agent when you start shopping, okay? Now, once you have the pre-approval numbers and all the information, it's time to hire your real estate broker.
I would like to say when you are looking at homes, you have to take into consideration that condos are going to be different with HOAs and homeowners dues. So as you're looking, you might see or come across some that are at that $200K number. That really isn't a reflection of what they are. So again, let your lender and your agent, when you hire your agent, after you get your lender set up, what type of inventory you're actually looking at. That'll help a lot.
Good point. Now, common mistake number 2, not having representation. So we're going to go on and we're going to ask you this. Do you know who you're hiring? Do you know who you're hiring and know who you're hiring? So, do you know what it takes to become a real estate agent? Do you know? I'm just going to ask you that question. Well, I'm going to tell you. In Washington State, for $500, 90 hours on the computer, and you take a state and federal test, you now can have your real estate license and you can represent someone in one of their biggest investments they'll ever make in their lives. Should you be scared? I'll leave that up to you. The point is this. Do you know how many transactions a real estate agent does a year? You should ask that as a question when you're interviewing. Last year, 74% of all the real estate agents in the United States didn't do one transaction. Not one. Okay, let's go on. Some interview questions. What kind of training have you had? How long have you been an active real estate agent? Are you full or part-time? How many transactions have you done? How many were listings? How many were with buyers? And why should I hire you? These are important questions, and you should be asking these questions when you're looking to hire a real estate agent. You find out, talk to them, feel if you're comfortable with it. All right? It's a big decision you're about to make. Now, how does your real estate agent get paid? You might be asking, why are we going into all this detail? There's a reason for it. There's a real good reason for it. So just bear with me here. So do you know the way that they get paid? A real estate agent gets paid typically by the seller paying a commission. Your agent takes you to the house that you're looking at. Prior to that house being listed, the seller and their agent have decided that the seller will pay a certain percentage of a commission towards your agent's brokerage. All right, so let's take the sales price, if we can, of $450,000. So the seller says, I'll pay a 3% commission, or a 2.5% commission, or a 2% commission. Now what happens is brokerages take a percentage of that money, because that money isn't paid directly to your agent. That money goes at closing, that's when it's finalized, the transaction, it goes over to your agent's brokerage, who they're working for. So all of a sudden, if it's 3%, $13,500 goes over to the brokerage, or 2.5%, or 2%. And typically, a brokerage is going to take upwards to 50% of that commission for their overhead, their fees. And the remaining amount goes back to your agent who represented you. You can see that. But here's something I wanted to share with you. But what happens if the seller offers to pay no commission whatsoever? Well, there have been a lot of changes in real estate, and I want you to really hone in on what I'm about to share with you. You and your agent must determine what he or she will be paid before they can provide you any real estate services. Did you hear that? Okay? You have to agree with the agent that you're going to be working with what their commission's going to be before they even start showing your houses or doing anything else. Now let's dig a little bit deeper into this so you'll fully understand and know what you're getting yourself into. This here is called the Buyer's Brokerage Services Agreement. This agreement is what we use in Washington State. I don't know if you're watching from New York or Texas or Tennessee or wherever, if it's the same there. But I will tell you that there's something like this wherever you live out of the state of Washington. If you live outside the state of Washington, make sure you look into what you're getting yourself into. But locally, this is what you'll be signing. Now, as you can see here, it says it's between the brokerage name. So if it were, Keller Williams or Windermere or Emerald Real Estate or whatever, that's where it would go. Then your name or names. Now the area, unlimited. Unlimited area is typically where it'll be versus a certain county or a city. It can be that, but typically it's unlimited. Now, what I want you to go and look down on number 2, the terms. This agreement will expire. If it's left blank, it's automatically 60 days. But a lot of agents will put in there 180 to 360 days. Right there, a year. Now go down to the next one. Buyer broker, right there on letter B says your agent's name right there. And then down below, if you'll see in C, you'll see where it says exclusive. Most brokers are going to want an exclusive relationship. They want that. They're not going to share you with anyone else. I'll reassure you. There might be some different circumstances that would create, and they would do a non-exclusive, but typically it's exclusive. Now, bear with me here. All right. Now, I'm going down through this. Do you see number 5? Compensation. This is where it comes into place. Right there, A. You might agree to pay your agent a 4% commission or a 3% commission or a 2% commission, whatever it may be. But that's where it goes, right there. Typically, you're going to see 3% on that line. Now, I point that out to be able to go on and share this with you. Number 7, do you see where it says compensation terms? I want you to go down to C. Do you see where it says compensation after expiration? That's very, very important. Is that going to be 60? Is it going to be 180 days? What is it going to be? Please remember what I'm about to say to you there, because I'm going to come back to it in just a moment. All right. So, how does your agent get paid? Let's continue here. The sales price was $450,000. The seller says, I'll pay a 3% commission. And you agreed that 3% is what they would make. Well, the seller is paying that, so you would have no money coming out of your pocket. But let's say that the seller said it's 2.5%. But you agreed with your agent that it would be 3%. You would be bringing $2,250 to the table when you close. But let's say that the seller says, I'm only going to pay a 2% commission, but you agreed. Again, I don't mean to be so simple here, but I want you to understand it. You agreed to 3%. You're going to bring $4,500 to the table, 1%. But what happens if the seller offers to pay no commission whatsoever? Well, guess what? You pay the $13,500. This is very, very important. I want you to make sure you understand that. Feel free to reach out to me. My number will be at the end of this workshop, or your agent, whoever sent this, shared this with you. Please talk to them about this. It should be very open, and you should be able to discuss it. But here's something I want you to think about. What can you do if your working relationship with your agent is not working out? This happens quite a bit. All right. Well, the first thing is you just don't say you're fired. Okay, you can. But the point is that you can say you'd like to move on and work with someone else or take some time off. But when you do that, you want to make sure that you ask for the Form 53. This is the termination of buyer broker services agreement. And be sure you and your agent both sign it and you keep a copy of it. Here it is right here. Now I'm going to explain this in a little bit more detail to you, okay? Termination. You can see where you terminate, the date goes in there. But I want you to read number 2. Compensation after expiration. Notwithstanding the foregoing. What this is about to say is this. If you leave your agent and within that time period, and I'm going to go back for a second. I'm going to click back up here. Do you see this one here? Compensation after expiration. Do you see it? See? And let's say you put up 60 or 180 days. It doesn't matter. The point is that now what is happening right here is, let's say that you decide to go back to a house that your agent that you were working with, you went back within that time period and you decided to buy that house. You owe that agent a commission. Think about what I just said there. This is very serious. This is going on. Let me give you an example, may I? Let's say that you're on Redfin, Zillow, or one of these places, and you see a house that you'd like to see. All of a sudden you show up, you make an appointment with Bob or Mary, whoever they say, would you like to see it? You go out to that home, and all of a sudden, guess what? You're signing one of these. You might sign it only for one day. You might sign it for a year. If you're not aware of this, you don't know what you're walking into. And Jesse, you and I have both walked into situations to where we've run into buyers who have signed them they're for upwards to a year. Isn't that right?
We've had it happen, and it's been heck trying to get them out of it, and people have had to just wait until they've been released from the term, and it's painful to watch, and you as the buyer always have the right to decide who you want to work with. But another question you could ask them, even when you sign or before you sign this, is ask the question, if for some reason we decide to part ways, are you going to allow me to sign the termination, the Form 53. This is why we teach these workshops.
Yeah,
and,
so you
and
know.
so you ask
So you know.
the right
Yep.
questions, because if you establish the
Absolutely.
grounds before you even get to that point, you should be able to say, I would like to terminate this working relationship and move on. And, they should grant that. But I've had people sign this and they worked with somebody off of Redfin, and the next thing you know, opening 3 doors turned into a year relationship that they couldn't get out of,
Yep.
and they had to wait to buy a house
Or pay the commission.
or pay the commission.
Yep. Okay, well, let's go on here. Okay, step 3. Now, you've hired your agent. You've determined, okay, we talked about the negative side, okay, and some of the downsides, okay, so enough of that. But I wanted you to know, this is really important, okay? So, you've hired your agent, now you're excited. You and your agent are going to set up a house search. You're going to determine the type of properties you want to look at, your wants, your needs, the neighborhoods. If there are HOAs, the CCNRs, you want to take a look at it. You want to establish a time frame of when you want to buy, what you're looking at. But here's a great opportunity for you and your agent to really work as a team to review strategies for negotiation. This is where what you can afford and where your comfort zone is at comes right into play right here. So I wanted to share that with you. So that's step 3. Now, the type of properties, okay? Jesse had mentioned before. Find out through your lender and let your lender know, what type of properties are you interested in? A regular stick built, a townhouse, a condo, a manufactured home? Please let them know. And please let your agent know also, because your approval could be only for a stick built or a manufactured. It might not be for a condo or a townhouse like Jesse had alluded to. So again, very, very important that you figure out and talk with your lender and yourself. What do you want to live in? All right. Now, types of sales. The type of sales that are out there is your resale. This is a regular, typical sale. Whether it's someone who's owned their house for a number of years and is selling it, or whether it's new construction, it doesn't matter. That's called resale. Now, a short sale is simply when someone is having to sell their house short to get it sold. We don't see a lot of them. Some of them are popping up right now, but I don't see a lot of them out there. Foreclosures. Typically, foreclosures, they're going to be auctioned at the, I would say, at the courthouse steps. And those are cash deals. So I wanted to say that I don't see a lot of those. They might be coming up in the future, but right now we're not in that market where we're seeing a lot of foreclosures on homes. Now, there's also bank owned. When does that happen? A bank owned is, it went through foreclosure, it didn't sell at auction. Now the bank or the lien holder has taken it back. They're getting it ready, putting it on the market, and now it's on the market as a bank owned. There you go. Those are the types of sales. Now, I want to give you some basic tips here. I teach my brokers, I teach my buyers, I teach this all the time, which is basic tips. When you're buying a home, buy it. If you're going to buy it, can you sell it? Everything is that's price, condition, location. Think about this for a minute. Let's say the condition and the location are excellent. If it is, and it's not selling, then guess what? It's overpriced. Okay, there it is. All right, but let's say that all of a sudden, location's beautiful, but all of a sudden the condition, the house has been used pretty hard. It's not in great shape. It needs a lot of updating. There's some things that need to be done to it. It's not selling. What's the problem? No problem. It's just the price. I wanted to share that with you. Maybe some of you go, yeah, I know that. Well, good. But for those of you who don't, remember, price, condition, location. Let's move on. Okay, now, common mistake number 3. This one, I want to bring this right up to you, okay? Dual agency. It's easy for you to fall into this trap. What this is your agent is not only representing you as a buyer, but they're also representing the seller. Tell me how you can negotiate with that. Because you know for a fact, if it is your agent's listing, he knows everything about the seller and what they can or cannot do. Now, obviously, they can't share any of the insights or what they know from the seller with you. How does that work? How does it happen? Easy. Number 1, call in on real estate signs. internet ads, flyers, magazines, classified ads, going to open houses. A lot of people go, yeah, I'll just go to an open house. Loose lips sink ships, as I say. You get in there and you start talking and go, I really like this house. You've told everything to the agent, who typically is the listing agent, okay? For sale by owners, new construction sites, your current landlord. The list goes on and on. You do not want this. You want your own representation. Some people might interpret me trying to sell why you need a real estate agent. I'm not trying to sell that at all. I'm just trying to say, have your own representation going into this, okay? Very, very important. And if you do go out to open houses or new construction sites, let your agent know and take his or her card and let the site agent know, whether it's an open house or new construction, whatever, that you have representation. That's all you have to do. Okay. Now, new construction. This is one that you need to really, really understand. If you're going to go look casually, whatever, out and look at new construction, please, you must let your agent know so that they can make a phone call ahead of time. Because as you can read right here, you could be giving up your negotiation rights because you now have no representation except for the site agent. Jess, you have anything to add for that?
Yeah, you need to let them know that you have representation. I know when I start touring with new buyers, I always emphasize, look at everything, but let them know that you have representation. And you go to the D.R. Hortons or Lennar Homes, they will capture your information and they'll cut your agent out of the deal. And that you guys could have been working together for 6 months. You know, you have to remember
Absolutely.
that they are site agents. They work for the people that built the homes.
Absolutely.
Their concern isn't about you and when you're going to sell the house or how long it's going to take you to sell the house. That's why when we first sit with you, always ask what your why is. What are your future plans? Life can happen fast and things can change. We have military people that get sent out or transferred, jobs, relocations, life happens. But to have some sort of strategy, as we talked about, negotiating strategies, working together in the beginning can set you up for future successes. So,
okay, let's go into for sale by owner. You know, there are a lot of for sale by owners out there. People want to do it. That gives you an advantage. You got a good agent? Let me tell you, good agent's going to make that phone call for you. They're going to set everything up. They're going to negotiate their commission with that seller. And they're going to go in there and typically for sale by owners, quite honestly, do not know what they're doing. I've been doing this for close to 35 years, and I will tell you right now, they're flying blindly, needless to say. And I don't like to say that, but it's true. That's to your advantage. So if there's a for sale by owner, let your agent know, let them do their legwork, and then they'll get you in and take a look at the house. So get them involved. Next, how are houses advertised? Well, you've all gone on the internet. You'll see arm bars out in front of houses. You'll see magazines. The internet, 99% of the shoppers today are using search engines on the internet. Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor.com. The list goes on and on. But again, here's what you need to know. When I'm meeting with a seller and I'm going to take their listing, I'm getting all the information about their house and I'm putting it into an input sheet. I will upload that input sheet to the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. Now, there are multiple listing services throughout the United States. Locally, we're known as the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. And the agent will take, the listing agent, we take that information and we upload it. And so if your criteria meets what this house is, this is when this house pops up. Now, once I upload it into the Northwest Multiple Listing Service or wherever it's being uploaded, what happens is it's syndicated everywhere. So that's why you pick it up through Zillow and Trulia and Redfin, et cetera, et cetera. That's how it works. I call it the real estate warehouse for all listings. It's typically always current and up to date, and for sale by owners might not be listed in there. Very rarely will you see that. There are firms out there that are agencies, real estate agencies that do that for a for sale by owner at a much lesser fee. But the point is that typically it's just not going to pop up. There you go. That is the multiple listing service. That's where your listings start, and then it syndicates out. Okay. Now, when you find houses that you're interested in, do the following. Get the information over to your agent, either the address, the MLS number, anything like that, so that they can start doing a research on it and get back to you and set up a search, which means searching for themselves to see, will that meet your criteria? If you have time, drive by the houses, check out the neighborhoods, but have fun. Now it's time to have fun, going and looking at houses. So, common mistake number 4, third-party influences. I want to take a moment and talk about this. This is really, really serious. You've hired your agent. You should be working as a team. You trust your agent. And if you don't, then maybe it's time to find a different person to represent you, okay? But you trust your agent. But all of a sudden, mom, dad, brother, sister, or someone who used to be a real estate agent. I always said if they used to be a real estate agent, I know this is a little sarcastic, but if they were so good, why aren't they still doing it? You know, what happened 15 years ago or a year ago doesn't apply today. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but typically it doesn't. So all of a sudden we've got a third party chirping in your ear, and all of a sudden it's confusing, and your agent is working trying to talk to you and explain it, but you've got this influence. Be really careful, because it can sabotage your ability to get the right house. So I just thought I'd share that. That's common mistake 4. Now, common mistake 5, waiting to buy. I think everybody who's watching this, if you're renting, you can agree with what's on the left-hand side of your screen here. You can probably look at that. Rent goes up, you're throwing your money away, etc., etc. But buying your home, you're investing in your future. Appreciation. Your house is going to go up in value. We're going to talk about that. You're going to have some tax advantages. So when you get your paycheck and you see how much money is coming out, you might be able to reduce the number or add deductions and bring more money home, or get more at the end of the year. Payment stays the same. It sure does. Payment stays the same, which is nice. And you can make your own improvements when you want to. There you go. That's one reason. So what's holding you back? What's holding today's buyers back? Let's get right to it. Payment shock. Payment shock. Large financial commitment. Current market interest rates, inflation, everything that you're hearing, the noise out there. But let's talk a little bit about the current market. This is one of the best markets to be able to buy a home in that has been around for a long time. Sellers are negotiating in good faith. Why? There's a lot of inventory, but there's a lot of buyers that aren't buying, which gives you the advantage if you move forward. Now, I'm not pressuring you, you buy when you want to buy. But I'm telling you right now, there will be people that will look back on this time and say, I wish I would have bought. And the reason being is interest rates. What goes up will come down. I want you to hear that. So let's take a look at this for interest rates. So you can see over here on a $500,000 home at a 7% interest rate, the principal and interest payment is $3,210. 6.5, 6, 5.5, even 5%. You can see that. Now, this does not include your property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and mortgage insurance. Now, if you're VA, there's a VA, what they call funding fee. I don't want to get into that, but I'll just tell you that. But you won't have a monthly mortgage insurance payment because it's zero down typically. Okay. Now, FHA, conventional, less than 20% down on conventional, you're going to have mortgage insurance. With FHA, it doesn't matter what you put down, you're going to have mortgage insurance. And you'll let your lender explain all this to you. All right. Very, very important that you hear this. Now, all of a sudden, look at the difference. Someone with a 7% all of a sudden get themselves, right now, I think we're sitting around, I want to say in the high 5s, low 6s. That's a big difference. It saves a lot of money right there. So you can always refinance when the rates come down to get a lower payment. Thought I'd share that with you. So principal and interest. Now, benefits of home ownership. The one thing that I want you to see and understand here is this. You can look at the screen while I'm talking, but your house is a hidden savings account. I want to take just a $500,000 house, and if it appreciates at a minimum 3% a year, just use that. That's $15,000 a year. In 2 years, that's a total of 30, 45, and all of a sudden, in 4 years, $60,000. My question to a lot of you is, how long will it take you to save $60,000? This is an investment. Other than paying your landlord, you're paying yourself and you're paying down the loan at the same time when the value of the house is going up and you get tax advantages. It is an incredible thing to be able to own a home, and all of a sudden in the next 5, maybe 10 years, if you sell it, you're walking away with a tremendous amount of money, and you might reinvest into another property. Who knows? But my point is that is one of the biggest reasons for buying a home is the benefits. And as you can see, they're right there in front of you. Okay, now, common mistake number 6, not being emotionally prepared to buy. Let's talk about this for a minute. You've gone out, you've set up your team, you're out looking at houses, and now all of a sudden you want to make an offer on a house. But now you're like a deer in the headlights, because now you're being presented all these forms, all these documents, and what's happening is it's holding you back because it's all legalese, it's all these terms. What I want to share with you is I want you to ask your agent this, okay? Let's go back. I want you to do this. Once you get your pre-approval and you're out looking at a couple houses, Jesse and I do this all the time. What I want you to do is let your agent pick out one of the houses as if you're going to buy it. And let them write up a complete purchase and sale agreement based upon your type of financing so that they can give it to you. They can print it out and they can give it to you. And then they can go through it with you, or maybe a cup of coffee or whatever, go over it with you so that you have time to be able to digest it and be able to ask questions on it. So that when you do find the right house, you're ready to go. You know exactly what you're talking about. Again, you're working as a team. You're working as a team. And that is very, very important. So I thought I'd share that with you. Please make sure you do that with your agent. Now, what's nice about this? If you're watching this right now, it's recorded. You can go back and play this back, play it forward, shut it off. The point I'm trying to make is that this information that I'm giving you here is really going to make you feel so much more comfortable and confident when you go forward and make an offer. Okay? Now, let's go on here. Now, you find the house you like and you want to make an offer. But before your agent's going to write up the offer, there are some decisions that you are going to have to make. How much are you going to offer? How much earnest money? I might be saying things right now, what are your closing costs? And you're looking like, what are you talking about, Mike? Let me explain. First, how to get a good feeling about what to offer. Common mistake number 7 is not getting a CMA. That stands for a comparable market analysis. You and your agent want to take a look at homes that have sold in the last 3 to 6 months that are very similar to what you're looking at, you wanting to buy. That'll give you an idea. That will give you an idea of what you might want to offer. Okay? Please, please, please do this. It's really, really important. And your agent will be very involved with you with doing this. Okay? So that's that. Now, the next is, how much money do you need to buy a home? Well, earnest money. Earnest money is showing you're going to put down somewhere up to 1%, maybe more, of the sales price. And that money that you're giving, you're telling the sellers that you're going to give, is going to go to an escrow company, and in different states to a lawyer's office, to where they have it tucked away. Nobody's touching it. And it sits there. Now it's held. I'm going to talk about escrow. It sits in the escrow company. It's protected. It shows the seller, you're serious about buying their home. Next, the down payment. On a conventional loan, minimum 3%, all the way up to maybe 5% or more. That's up to you. FHA, minimum 3.5%. VA, 0. So those are down payments. So you got earnest money, your down payment, and now the cost of doing the loan, and the prepaids and reserves. That's for taxes and insurance purposes. It can be upwards to 3% of the sales price. So again, that's discussed with your lender, and your lender, you and the agent will get those numbers based upon the house you're looking to make an offer on. And last, inspection. That's money that you pay an inspector to have the house inspected. We're going to talk about that. So how much money do you need? It's going to be dependent upon what loan program, what the sales price is, what you're willing to offer, and again, what your property taxes and insurance are going to be on that property. So I want you to know that. Now, let's go on. I like doing this. What would you say if I told you you can buy a house with zero down? No money. Don't believe me, do you? Talk to your lender. There are many programs out there. Many programs. The Washington State Housing Finance Commission has a down payment program, but there are lenders out there that have their own portfolio products. They are even better in some cases than Washington State. So don't get yourself trapped. Don't get trapped.
This is why we say shop around.
Shop
around, because there could be a program that you could walk into a house and end up paying nothing more than your inspection cost.
You bet, Jess. You bet. All right. So I wanted to share that with you. Listen, again, if you're getting something out of this workshop, all right, share it with someone you know. Okay, like it below so that we can get more people's eyes on this, so that they know. What do we get from this? I get the satisfaction of knowing that our buyers have got a foundation under them and they're buying the right house, not a house. And they're getting the best terms, at the best rates, everything. So this is important. I'm passionate about this, as you can probably tell. But the fact is that this is for you. Please share it. Okay, let's continue here. Okay, now, put your offer together. You've decided what you're going to offer, how much earnest money you want to offer, and you've decided what you're going to ask the seller. Now, the agent's going to write this all up, and you're going to sign it, typically by AuthentiSign or DocuSign, that way. After some negotiating back and forth between you and the seller, you all agree to mutual terms. And now you're in what's called mutual contract. That's step 5. Now, let's talk about mutual contract. Your purchase and sale agreement is what you wrote up with your agent and was presented, and it was accepted between you and the seller. And in there, you have contingencies. You have a financing contingency, an inspection contingency, a title contingency, an appraisal contingency. These are to protect you so that you can walk away if something isn't right and you get your earnest money back. That's what I wanted to be able to share with you. But listen to me. Every one of those contingencies is very time sensitive. So during this process, it's important that you're timely and work in a collaborative way with your agent and lender to ensure a successful transaction. Please remember that.
And again, this is why we like to sit down with our buyers before we actually write anything up and go over a contract, because then you understand what a title contingency is.
Yep.
And when it's delivered, how many days you have to review. Because if you don't like what you see, you're allowed to walk away from that deal and get your earnest money back.
That's right.
So
that's it right there. Thanks, Jess. Okay, step number 6, get an inspection. So you had an inspection contingency and the seller said, yeah, go ahead and inspect the house. Sometimes sellers will have done a pre-inspection to their home. You can look at it. Doesn't mean that you have to accept that. But the fact of it is they're being transparent with you to say, here, we had our house inspected. Here's what is wrong with it. This is what we've done to correct some of the problems. But please feel free to get your own inspection. So you get your inspection, all right? Let's say they didn't do a pre-inspection. Now, I want to share something with you here. When I'm taking a listing, I always recommend to the seller to get a pre-inspection. And the reason being is that if they don't, then what happens is this. You, first-time home buyer, you're nervous, payment shock, you're like, oh, and you get an inspection. Your inspector is there to work for you. They're going to tell you everything that's wrong with the house that they can see. And guess what? Typically, it's going to scare you. It's going to scare you. But the thing is that had the seller done this ahead of time, then what they've done is they've kind of forewarned you. But there are times where a seller won't spend the $400 or $500 to do this. And then all of a sudden you have the inspection. You send the inspection report back over to the seller. And they're all going, well, wait a minute. What's wrong with this and that? That's not an educated seller. I just thought I'd tell you that. And so this is a very, very serious and pretty much the most complicated part of our industry is right here. And I want to tell you that this is very important and you need to understand it thoroughly. So make sure you're talking with the agent throughout this. And common mistake number 8 is not getting that home inspection. But here's what I want to show you. So what if there's something happens and there are some things that the inspection, reveals? Well, you've got some options. Take a look at this form down here. Take a look at it. You can, if the inspection went well, you can check the first box that says, hey, it's approved. Let's keep moving. Or you can say, I'm out of here. I'm paraphrasing, can you tell? But that's the second box. The third box is that the inspector found maybe something more serious that was beyond their scope of ability to advise you in. So they're saying you need to have a professional come in and look at. Maybe it's a foundation, maybe it's electrical. It's something that they weren't able to really detect and didn't feel comfortable in sharing, what they're thinking. They're not there. They're there to tell you what they see, what is wrong. But if there's something out of their scope of comfort zone, they're going to say you need an additional inspection. And you can check that box and that'll give you some more time to get someone in and look. All right. The fourth box, though, says, Mr. Seller, we like the house, but here are 10 things we'd like you to address and take care of. That's where that would go. And when your agent puts that all together, sends it over to the seller, and that's where more negotiation can take place. So there's a lot of things that can take place. I could spend an hour just talking about this, huh, Jess? But The fact is that this is just a little way for me to show you a form that is so critical. So not only do you have to have an inspection done, but then you have to respond back. And there you go. Now, let's say that everything goes well in the inspection, everything is agreed to, and now you've moved on to the appraisal. Now, what does the appraisal do? This determines and validates the current market value of the house for your lender and you. So what happens if the appraisal comes back at value or higher? Well, only you'll know that. Seller will never know that. But what if it comes back lower than what you agreed to? You get to renegotiate. And what if it comes back with subject to issues? Means it came in at what you offered, but the appraiser said, you know what? I don't like that back deck. Or I don't like this or that. I want that taken care of before I'll sign off on the appraisal. Typically, you go back in, sellers, once they see that, typically will say, okay, we'll take care of that, and you keep right on moving. But let's say that the appraisal came in low and the seller's not willing to lower it. Doesn't happen a lot. Sellers normally will. But I want to share this with you. If they won't, then you can walk and you get your earnest money back. So the only thing you're out is you're going to be out. Typically is going to be your inspection money, and the lender will work with you in regards to the cost of the appraisal. Okay? Very important. So make sure you discuss that with the lender. What ifs? It's the what ifs. Okay. Next, final steps to closing. Step number 7. I'm not going to read all of these, but if you would like this, by all means, play the video back, put it on pause, and look at this. What's going to happen here is these are final steps. So your appraisal came back, you've gone through all your contingencies, and now your lender's going to do a final review of the file. All right? And this is what they're going to do to get you ready for closing. So I want you to jump down. Do you see where it's highlighted in yellow? Once you sign the documents, the legal documents, signing is not closing. All right? It's not closing. All right? You know what? Let's go through this. I think this might be better to go down through it. So you got through the appraisal, right? Okay. Your lender does a final review of your complete file. They take the appraisal, they look at everything, and they go, we're great. Clear to close. They give that notice to everybody. Now, the lender's going to produce what they call a CD, a closing document, and it's going to be emailed typically over to you, and you're going to sign it. Once you sign it, there's a 3-day cooling off or waiting period. Day 1 is the day you sign it. During the period, the lender's going to balance all the numbers and everything, and they're going to send the legal documents over to the escrow company that you and the seller agreed to right up front on who you're going to use as a neutral third party. After the 3rd day, you can now legally sign the final closing documents. Escrow is going to call you to sign, so they'll send over a notary, or they're going to have you come over to their office. Okay? After signing the documents, All those are going to go back to the lender for final review, and once it's done, they're going to notify escrow and they're going to give the release to record. But remember, if you sign it on Monday, you're not going to typically have it recorded till Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Are you following? Okay. Now, that means escrow takes the deed of trust. That's a document you signed in your closing documents, and they're going to record it at the county. When escrow gets the recording numbers, the house is yours. Congratulations. I said I wasn't going to review that. I lied. I just did. So hopefully that helped. Okay. Next, common mistake number 9. Here we go. You can read it right here. Do not make any major purchases from the time you get into doing this until you get the keys. Once you get the keys, go buy the furniture, go buy your car, go take a trip, whatever it is that you want to do. But nothing during this time period. Do not open any new credit. And by all means, please do not change jobs unless you have this discussion with your lender. Very important. That's mistake number 9. Okay, here we go. Final steps to buying a house, okay? Would I say final? No, these are the steps to buying a house. Okay, get pre-approved, see what you qualify for. Everything that we've talked about right here. I am not going to read this now. All right, I promise you. But everything, the steps. And again, you can take a snapshot of this, or you can ask and we'll send something over to you if you'd like. That's up to you. But there you go. Those are the steps. Now, before I go any further, I want to talk about this program, something that's near and dear to my heart. It's called Homes for Heroes. I got involved with Homes for Heroes back in the end of 2012. I was looking for some way that I could be of service and give back. And I stumbled across this program. It's nationwide. A lot of people have not heard of it because they don't have the advertising budget for television, radio, newspaper, and all those type of other means to advertise. But this program right here is where we give back to our local heroes, local and nationally. And there's 2 parts of Homes for Heroes. There is us giving back to the heroes, and then there's the foundation to help heroes in need. So this program here is for our military, active, non-active, retired, our police, fire, healthcare providers, and our teachers, our educators, and their support staff, whether they're active, non-active, and retired. Did you hear that? This is very important. The first thing that we do is we educate. We teach them on how to buy, just like I've done here with you, or we teach them how to sell. And they get the same type of training so that they know. And they can use anybody they want. Anybody. But if they decide to work with a Homes for Heroes realtor affiliate, which my company is, then what happens is we give back. We give back 0.007 of the sales price back through Homes for Heroes to our customer, our client, whether it's a buyer or a seller. You heard me right. So what we do is we give 30% of our commission that we've agreed to, okay, that we're accepting into the company. And right off the top, 30% goes to Homes for Heroes. And then that 0.007 of the sales price is what goes to you, and the rest goes to the foundation. That's how it works. It's an incredible program. We've given back over $1 million locally, huh, Jesse?
Yeah.
Over $1 million. And I wish we could say that we've given $5 million back since really the start of 2013. So tell people about this if you would. It's a great program, and look into it. Look into it. So there's Homes for Heroes. Now, if you like what you've heard and you've seen and you've enjoyed this, please follow us. Hit the like button down below. Leave some comments. And again, one of the things I like to say is this. If you want to run a scenario by us, you're more than welcome to do it. But if your agent, whoever might have shared this video with you, go back to them. Let them know what you thought of this, okay? And I know that they would appreciate it. I'm not here to steal someone's client. That's not what I do. I'm here for education. As I said, this is about education, not solicitation. But we're here for you. And the last thing that I always say is this. If you have no representation and you're watching this, and you're ready to hire, then we always would love to be able to apply for the job. We keep it that simple, okay? No obligations, but we're here for you. I wish you the very best. Good luck. moving forward, and you're going to find the right house when you're ready to buy. Thanks again. Take care.